Yeah, weapons breaking in Breath of the Wild sucked, but I don't think it's going anywhere in Tears of the Kingdom. So let's fix it. Before we get into it, I think this Lionel fight that I recorded perfectly encapsulates how frustrating the weapon durability system can be. I broke so many weapons during the fight. Also, I forgot how to switch weapons quickly, so please don't yell at me for going in and out of menus. Breath of the Wild is a near perfect game, but I do understand some of the frustrations that people had with the weapon durability system. I just don't think they're going to get rid of it for Tears of the Kingdom. So how do we make it better? First, let's talk about why it's even a thing in Breath of the Wild. Since Breath of the Wild is a completely open game which allows you to do anything you want in any order that you want, they needed to find ways to balance the game, and weapon durability was one of those ways. They didn't want the player to find a powerful weapon early game that allowed them to just coast through a lot of the easier parts of the game. Now, I don't know why they did it for the Master Sword because there was an actual quest that you had to complete to get it, and it wasn't even that powerful once you got it. Now, there is an argument to be made that they could have added a mode that turned off weapon durability and just allowed the player to find whatever weapon they wanted to use it as long as they want it. I don't know, call it a casual mode. Fire Emblem did it. I might be referencing Fire Emblem a lot in this video because I've been playing N-Gage and it's just a complete blast, so check it out. Okay, since they use it for balancing, I don't think it's going away. So what can we do to make it better? The first one's super easy. Just give every weapon slightly more durability. Instead of the weapon breaking after 1 or 2 enemies, make it 4 or 5 enemies. I understand that they want you to plan and prepare for your battles, but it's still super frustrating when your weapon would break in master mode in the middle of a fight. I have no idea how game development works, but turn the dial up. This one's more of a UI issue, but I still think it's a good idea. Add some type of indicator to show how much durability the weapon has left. There must be something on the back end that tells the game that the weapon is about to break because it starts flashing red and there's a prompt that tells you the weapon is about to break. So why not just put it on the UI? It could be a little bar in the inventory. It could be on the UI when you lock on to an enemy, kind of like how when you lock onto an enemy, the little health bar shows up. Just give me some indication so I could plan and prepare better for my encounters. A game that does this very well is Monster Hunter. There is a bar on the screen at all times that shows the sharpness of your weapon, so you know at all times how effective your weapon will be. Speaking of Monster Hunter, this next idea relates to it as well. There is an item in Monster Hunter called the Whetstone that allows you to restore the sharpness of your weapon, which is essentially the durability of that weapon. I think adding an item that would allow you to restore durability in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom would be perfect. Now, Monster Hunter is not an open world game. It is confined to hunts of about 15 to 20 minutes, and it does allow the player to use the Whetstone as many times as they want during the hunt. Now, that would not really work for a game like Breath of the Wild because it would break the balancing like I was talking about. So what I think would be a great idea would be to add a consumable item that the player could use 1, 2, 3 times to restore the durability of a weapon. Now make them hard to find, like rare drops from a Lionel fight or a Guardian fight, or only obtainable in dungeons after a boss battle or in shrines, or make them completely unaffordable in shops with 50, 100,000 rupees, but just give the player an option to be able to restore the durability of a weapon that they found and love. I cannot even count the amount of times that I found a weapon that I truly loved in Breath of the Wild, and I was too afraid to use it because I did not want it to break, so it just sat in my inventory, judging me the whole time. Now, the last ideas that I have deal with getting rid of the durability system altogether. First is something that I want them to take from Elden Ring, which is another truly open world game. It takes a lot of cues from Breath of the Wild and it improved upon them. Guess what? That game doesn't have weapon durability, but the weapons in that game have specific spawn points in the world, which I think Tears of the Kingdom can utilize. Now, I did enjoy in Breath of the Wild that you could essentially pick up any weapon and use it as your own, but it was frustrating that they kept breaking. So instead of the hundreds of disposable weapons, limit it to 20, 25 weapons that you could use at all times and they won't break. Yeah, I understand that this would probably screw up the inventory management system, but like, who wants to deal with 900 Korok seeds anyway? Now, this isn't a completely out of the blue idea because they did it in Breath of the Wild with the Master Sword and Hylian Shield, and I'm sure there's other things that they did it for that I just don't know about, and I'll probably get yelled at for not knowing them, but I do know that they did it for the Master Sword and Hylian Shield. And they even did it for some gear, so I don't understand why they couldn't just revamp the whole system and have specific spawn points for 20 to 30 to 50 pieces of weapons and armor that you can find throughout the world. Now, Elden Ring does this successfully by putting the spawn points in difficult areas for the player to get to. They lock them behind boss fights or quest lines. It's just satisfying for the player to get these weapons that Breath of the Wild just did not have outside the Master Sword. The Master Sword was an event, and I just want more of that. The way Elden Ring balances this, because you could find these weapons essentially at any point of your playthrough, is they make them relatively useless in the harder areas of the game until you upgrade them. So, I want to see an upgrade system for your weapons in Tears of the Kingdom. Again, this is not something that is completely out of the blue because they have shown upgrade systems in Breath of the Wild. They had Trial of the Sword, which, yeah, it was DLC, and some people may not have been able to experience it, but that was a way to upgrade the Master Sword. Now, there's no way that they could do a Trial of the Sword situation for every weapon in the game, unless there's only 2, 3, 4, 5 weapons, because it would just become tedious and overwhelming for the player. But maybe they could have some type of trial or mini game that allows you to earn items that could upgrade your weapons. There's also an upgrade system for the gear in Breath of the Wild, which you went to the fairy fountains for, so why not just add another tab for the fairies to upgrade weapons? And it wasn't that easy to upgrade your gear. It took a lot of materials, it took time to find those materials, so they could do that for the weapons as well. In Elden Ring, you have to find items in the world that become increasingly harder to find the more you upgrade your weapons. They can do that in Zelda. Maybe you have to defeat like 10 Lynels with that specific weapon for it to drop an item to upgrade the weapon. Referring back to Fire Emblem, the old games used to have limited use weapons, but now playing N-Gage, there's a way to upgrade your weapons, and the weapons have unlimited uses. The upgrades just increase the power. I don't know of anybody that actually enjoyed the weapon durability system in Breath of the Wild. If you're out there, please leave a comment below. Let me know that you enjoyed your weapons breaking every 2 to 3 enemies and less than 1 enemy in master mode, because I don't think anybody like that exists. At this point, we're still a few months out from the Tears of the Kingdom release, and we haven't actually seen any footage of the combat system, so we don't really know what it's going to be like. This video might be completely obsolete as soon as the game comes out, but I just hope that they tweak the durability system at least a little bit to make it more enjoyable for the players. I'm still hyped for Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game ever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you all next time.